Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2020 adventure science fiction film Time Loop. Now this film was written and directed by Ciro Sorrentino and it stars Sam Gittins and Mino Safera. And it focuses on a father and son. Now the son is English and he's over in Italy with his father. And his father is a former renowned scientist who was discredited some years previously for his ideas on time travel, things like that. And he has continued his research with his son, who is also a gifted scientist, out in the countryside in Italy. And they make a breakthrough, and what follows is a time travel movie where there's crossovers, there's all sorts of things happen, and they've got to try and put right what they got wrong by altering their timelines, etc. As Doctor Who said, a bit wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff happens in this film. So that's the basic premise here of this film. Now what do I think of Time Loop? Well, I think a lot of this will depend on what kind of viewer you are. If you like science fiction films and time travel films that cross over themselves, get a little bit confused, they try and change things that they altered previously, and then that doesn't work and it creates another time loop here, there and everywhere. If you like those kind of time travel type movies, there's a movie here for you to enjoy. It seems I was about to say then it seems to make sense, but it's actually quite hard to follow unless you make notes while you watch the film. It's one of those, you know, where it keeps going over scenes you've seen earlier, but each time you see it there's a new layer added to it because there's a new time loop taking place. So it takes on a new meaning from what you saw earlier in the film, etc, etc, and that loop happens consistently in this film. Now I've seen a few time travel movies like this, and I saw one fairly recently. I think it was called Volition, something like that. Maybe a couple of months ago I reviewed that one. I thought that was pretty good. What that one had going for it though was the fact that it had a bit of a thriller edge to it, and there were lives at stake, and it was a bit violent, and you know what I mean. It was a bit more exciting than this one, is where I'm trying to get to. This film is a fairly gentle, intelligent approach to science fiction, and it works for the most part. I don't really have much of an issue with this film. I think the main problem that we get here, certainly watching the film, is the apart from Sam Gittins, who I've seen in a few like low budget like UK horror sci-fi dramas over the years. He seems to be like the go-to actor for these type of low budget films. I think I've actually got one on my to watch list that he's in as well. It's a UK based film about snooker, I think. So he's okay. He's okay in the film, and the other actors are like clearly English speaking actors. English isn't their first language, so you've got his father who's a very, very strong Italian accent, who struggles with some of the dialogue. You see that very, very clearly. And there's another actress who's in it who's quite prominently, who's French I believe, and she's struggling with some of the dialogue as well. So you get that, if you like, in regards to the language barrier for this film. It feels like it appears they're giving a bad performance, but they're not actually giving bad performances. I think they're just struggling to deliver the lines in English. But it's basically that. There's not many characters in this film, and it's one of those films, if you pulled at the strings, it'd probably fall apart in regards to plot holes. You know, there's all sorts of questions you can ask, like, you know, how did he manage to build a time machine in like a Italian shed, basically, is what it looks like. especially because he's no fun. He doesn't seem to have any funding and all that kind of stuff. He's used his savings, and there's loads of questions that it raises, and some of them you want it to answer, it doesn't really, and it gets a little bit, I don't know, bit of a drama between a father and son, really, for the most part. You know, they talk about, you know, how the problems they've had in the past, and you know why the father left and all this kind of stuff, and it does get a little bit dull. And again, you know, it can't really be avoided. It's a little bit of a dull affair, this one, which is a bit of a shame, because all the rest of it does seem to kind of match up here, but it doesn't make it an exciting watch for the audience member. It's just continual time loops, and oh, this has happened, what we're going to do to repair this, and then they do that, and then they realise they shouldn't have done that, and then a later version of himself realises they shouldn't have done that. So they're crossing over all the time, trying to repair this, that and the other that they've done, and by the end you're kind of like, okay, well, I'm not really that bothered anymore. So it's a decent enough watch. It's nicely made, beautiful, and I do stress that, beautiful scenery. I mean, it looks absolutely idyllic, the location that they filmed at. I mean, very, very beautiful. And like I say, for some science fiction fans, there's certainly a film in here somewhere. I personally found it a little bit of a dull affair, but I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. It's certainly worth a watch. So that is my review for Time Loop. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please click the like button. That would be very, very helpful. And I will be back with more content and reviews on Screen Stars very, very soon.